The lowest place on Earth, the Dead Sea, is slipping away. It's been the site of dramatic biblical stories, and the area is still contested today.
This is the promised land by God to the Jewish.
For millennia treasured for its healing powers,
I have skin issues, and the sea, when you're in it for a couple hours, it almost takes everything away.
You're flowing, it feels wonderful.
modern-day pilgrims still come to bathe in the salty, mineral-rich waters.
Yeah. Every Sunday we are coming here with company.
But this natural wonder is vanishing at an alarming rate.
This is the symbol of what man can do to the nature, and without even knowing that he's doing it.
At the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is the land and its diminishing water.
This is a crisis. This is unacceptable for us.
In a divided region, the solutions are disputed and costly.
Who will pay the price for this water?
It might take a modern-day miracle to save the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is surrounded by Jordan, Israel, and the West Bank. It's fed by waters of the River Jordan. This used to be the En-Gedi beachside resort. Families and tourists would stop here to enjoy the sparkling waters.
What, are we jumping over here?
Yeah.
Now we're walking into a highly dangerous site, off limits to the public.
You can really see it there, look.
Yeah. That used to be Road 90, which was the main highway in Israel. And you can see what is the situation now. A few sinkholes at the main road, and also some on the right and on the left of this road. And now there is no way to use it.
And this was only 5 years ago?
Yeah.
5 years ago, there were trucks coming along here, buses.
Yeah, and I think that more than 6 months people was driving here, and there were holes underneath it.
So it was actually hollow?
Yeah, like a sponge.
Geologist Karmit Ish-Shalom lived here for a decade, studying a mysterious phenomenon, sinkholes.
This area is the first area where the sinkholes caused a big problem.
Here, near the beach. That was the first sinkholes that we found.
This former holiday park was abandoned when sections of it started disappearing into the ground.
At the end of the 80s, they found here the first sinkhole, and the resort was just closed immediately.
And how do you feel when you see this?
It's really scary to think that children could run here on top of nothing. And that was also main income source of En-Gedi, which they can't really use anymore.
As the Dead Sea continues to shrink, Karmit Ish-Shalom knows more and more sinkholes will come. When the salty water of the Dead Sea recedes, it leaves a thick underground layer of salt. Winter floods rush down from the mountains. The fresh water saturates and dissolves that salt, and huge underground caverns form. When they eventually collapse, sinkholes appear.
There are more than 6,000 different sinkholes in the Israeli side.
The resort at En Gedi shows how far and how fast the waters have receded. People used to stop here for a swim, but now the water is hundreds of metres away, and the facilities have been destroyed by sinkholes. And they're still forming.
It's a new one. You want to hear it?
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still getting 6. It can be.
That is a long way down.
Yeah, it's.
Eventually, this area is going to collapse.
Yeah. And the reason it's not collapsing, I think it's we have lots of asphalt here, and it's holding it.
Just near En Gedi is a floodplain that flows into the Dead Sea. Scientists from the Geological Survey of Israel come here regularly to try and learn more about sinkholes.
Morning.
I'm meeting geologists Itai Gavrieli and Gidon Bear. They're going to take me down the dry riverbeds to check their equipment.
Those cracks are the indication that we're approaching a sinkhole area. And just beyond that sinkhole, we have a camera.
These scientists have been studying this area for a decade, especially the flash floods that rush through here.
And we're just now getting to our camera. It is a time-lapse camera.
The cameras are placed all over the floodplain, waiting to capture footage of these flood events.
Every winter, we get flash floods, and flash floods generally used to flow directly to the Dead Sea. But since a few sinkholes formed along the riverbeds, flash floods started to be swallowed into those sinkholes and dissolve the salt layer, the 20-meter deep salt layer, and make their way eastward towards the Dead Sea, but underground. At the beginning, we really didn't know where they came out. But 2012, 2013, we started seeing that these waters come out in other sinkholes. So we put cameras in the places where the water was swallowed and cameras where the water came out. And we saw the time difference, and we really saw that if you look at the water and it's totally calm, and a few hours after a flash flood, you can really see a vigorous spring coming out of the water, full of dust, full of clay that was carried by the water from the flash flood.
Only the scientists are allowed to come here because the whole area is considered too dangerous for the public.
So we are walking above an area which is really forming an underground cave system. That's what's happening here now.
They test the water coming out of a sinkhole to see where it comes from. That tells them how quickly the caves are forming and how big they are.
It matters, first of all, for the sake of safety. The more tunnels, the more dissolution, the less safe it is.
This landscape is changing fast. These giant sinkholes are only 4 years old.
When you see this sinkhole, this evolved within 2-3 years to what you see here now. It's a spectacular landscape that developed over a few years. And over time, we envisioned that the entire area will be a huge sinkhole with whatever water eventually will overtake it.
The scientists take their samples and information back to Jerusalem for testing and analysis.
These are samples we took together.
But these are all from sinkholes.
Yeah.
Chemical analysis of the water samples will reveal more about the cave systems, like what minerals have been dissolved and how quickly that's happening. The results will inform the Israeli government about how the landscape is changing and how it can be safely used in the future.
We can give them an estimation of where the dangerous areas are. And so this system is short-term prediction. We also use this information to map the entire area in terms of sinkhole hazard. And this is used for general purposes of planning recreation areas, planning buildings, planning a new settlement even. Don't plan a settlement in an area where we can tell you that it's going to be prone to sinkholes.
One reason the Dead Sea is shrinking is because humans are taking the water out. It's pumped via canals to shallow evaporation ponds. They've become the new home of the Dead Sea tourism industry. But many visitors don't realise they're not swimming in the natural sea.
I think this place is amazing. So whether it's man-made or not, I think it's got a lot of history. I think it's just look at what the beauty is today and how do we preserve it.
The water is great. You can float on water because it's the Dead Sea. It contains a lot of minerals and salts, and that makes you float, which makes everybody enjoy the water.
And it makes you very young.
Nearby, factories in Israel and Jordan are extracting valuable minerals. Making potash for fertilizer is big business here. More than 500 million cubic metres of water is sucked out from the Dead Sea every year. That's roughly equivalent to the volume of Sydney Harbour. The factories pump a lot back in, but the Geological Survey of Israel says overall they're responsible for roughly a quarter of the water lost from the Dead Sea. To understand the main cause of the Dead Sea's demise, we have to travel north to its source. For thousands of years, the Jordan River has carried water from the Sea of Galilee to the Dead Sea. All that changed with the creation of Israel in 1948. The water in the Galilee was diverted to supply a growing population and to make the deserts bloom. Jordan and Syria also take water from this area. The price is a disappearing Dead Sea and an escalating conflict over water. In the Jordan Valley, there's a big demand for water, but not enough to go around. Palestinian government worker Zeyad is taking me into the West Bank to his home village of Kardala.
How does it feel to go home?
It's an amazing feeling to be there in your family, with your family in your house that you were born in.
Zeyad's family have farmed this land for generations, but the lack of water restricts them.
مرحبا. كيف الحال؟ شو أخبارك؟ إيش عمي؟ شو أخبارك؟
Most farmers living here in the West Bank are Palestinians.
They have a very big shortage of water. The water allocated for this village actually is less than 50% of the needed water. Here is the greenhouse. Opa.
Vegetables are grown in greenhouses to preserve water.
That's a big one.
You can try it.
try it raw?
Raw. I'm eating raw batinjan. It's full of iron, by the way.
That tastes much better raw than I expected.
I like it like this. Kardala area, we have around 5 cubic meter per hour, which is supplied by the Israeli company. They use it for crops, agriculture, and also they use it for, household usage. The demand is much more higher. You need more than 12 to 15 cubic meters per hour.
3 times as much.
3 times as much.
Zeyad says the restrictions placed on Palestinians fuel tensions with the Jewish settlers who take much more water. The settlers came here after Israel captured and occupied the West Bank in 1967. International law deems the Jewish settlements illegal. Palestinians say their homeland and their water are being stolen.
It's Israeli farms irrigated by Palestinian water, which is the water beneath our feet right now. Israelis are extracting it from their wells, distributing it to their settlements. Imagine that Israelis and the settlements, they are swimming, they are filling up their swimming pools, they are consuming 3 times to 4 times of the Palestinians, while Palestinians here are facing the crisis of drinking water. This is a crisis. This is unacceptable for us.
Around 5,000 Palestinians live in 3 farming villages in this part of the Jordan Valley.
Assalamu alaikum.
Today, one family's holding an engagement party.
This is the man who would like to marry tomorrow.
Yeah, congratulations.
And this is his father. Yeah.
They serve fresh lamb from the village.
This is mansa.
Is the #1 Palestinian...
#1 Palestinian food.
Yeah, right. Okay. What's the spice?
It's the job of the women. I don't know what to do.
Sure.
The population of these villages is growing, but this area is under the full control of the Israeli military.
They are pushing them to leave their land, to leave their homes. Because of that, they are not allowing them to have permits for reconstruction, to build new homes.
Later, we witness these tensions ourselves. Outside the village, we see a confrontation between Israeli soldiers and locals.
Okay. The Palestinians in this village, they're trying to build a new road, repave the one to the school, but the Israeli military has come in here and stopped them. They're threatening to seize the truck. That's because they control everything here, even what the Palestinians do in their villages with their money.
The road is decades old, and the village council got a loan to repair it. There's nothing they can do to stop the soldiers seizing their equipment.
Every day, we are every day they are come here, every week, every month. They are forbidding us to do anything. No buildings, no mosques, no anything. Even water pipes, they forbidden us to do that. Why?
Today, the fight is about a road, but the underlying cause is land and water. Over at the Israeli farms, it's a different story. There's plenty of water.
Hi, Eric.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Fist bump.
It's a rainy day.
David El-Hayani runs this farm.
You know what is it? Make like this and smell it.
He also heads the Yesha Council, which represents Jewish settlers in the Israeli-occupied West Bank.
So when we came to the Jordan Valley, we found a desert. You know, there's sometimes in the summer we have 52 Celsius degrees. We found a desert. Nothing was growing here. So Now the Jordan Valley is green.
David's family grows herbs, dates, flowers and vegetables for Israel and export. His workers are primarily Palestinian.
The Route 19 was empty. Now every Palestinian have a new car, sometimes two cars. They don't get it by working in the Palestinian Authority. They get it because they are working with us, because they get a good salary, because they have the opportunity to buy the cars, the opportunity to build the new houses.
The small number of Jewish settlers here live in fenced communities, guarded by the Israeli military. Some believe God gave them this land. David El-Hayani lives in this hilltop settlement above a Palestinian village.
Shalom, Ima. We came here to the Jordan Valley, to Argaman community. Since 1983, I'm a farmer. I have 3 children, so all of them are married. And this is their children. They have 5. And now we hope that we have more.
The small settlement is green and quiet. There are irrigated lawns and a swimming pool, although it's closed. Israel controls all the water in the Jordan Valley under a temporary agreement that was meant to expire by the end of the 1990s. Much more per capita goes to the Jewish settlers, but they don't see any inequality.
We pay more than them for the water, so they can drill whenever they want.
But there are clearly 2 different ways of living here, inside and outside the wire. It's not just Israelis and Palestinians who revere these waters. Above the Jordan Valley is the ancient city of Jerusalem. Here, priests of the Armenian Orthodox Church prepare for an important annual ritual. Father Korion Bagdasarian is getting ready to head down to the sacred waters of the Jordan River.
Today is the Feast of Epiphany of the Armenian Church, and we are getting prepared to go down to the Jordan River, to the baptismal site where, according to the New Testament, John the Baptist baptized Jesus Christ. For us it's very important, especially because only the Armenian Church kept the tradition as it was celebrated in the 4th century by the Universal Christian Church.
COVID-19 restrictions mean the priests need a police escort and can only bring 50 people instead of hundreds. They descend through the Judean desert into the Jordan Valley. The baptism site is on the militarized border between Jordan and the Palestinian territories occupied by Israel. Access is controlled by the Israeli military. At the river, the priests are met by their Armenian counterparts in Jordan across the water. The Patriarch blesses the river's waters, and priests collect them to use in baptisms and benedictions throughout the year.
Once the water of the river is blessed, it's a miraculous water, and everyone that has any kind of pains or any kind of bad feelings, he can wash himself with this water and he can be healed
While it's holy water for some, the reality is that the source of the Dead Sea, the Jordan River, is now a polluted stream. All the water that makes it down this far is sewage, or from springs too salty for agriculture. Back at the Dead Sea, and despite the danger from the sinkholes, the more intrepid are still going into the salty water.
It's so close to Tel Aviv, and it's amazing when you're in the metropolitan and you drive 1 hour and you're in the desert, in the lowest place on earth. It's
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And we love it. We're coming here very often.
A little bit like my own private paradise, like a taste of heaven on earth. It's like no man's land, no one's here. It's so dangerous that like nobody really can be here. Sometimes it's scary. Like today when I was at the sinkhole, like a big part of the wall just caved in and like made a mini tsunami, and I was like all alone.
These swimming holes are only accessible because the Dead Sea is shrinking. This place used to be underwater. But the continuing decline means this area won't stay like this for long.
It's amazing.
There are proposals to pump more treated sewage into the Dead Sea to slow its decline, or even fill the Jordan River with desalinated seawater. Another plan, called Red to Dead, would see brine from a proposed desalination plant in Jordan pumped into the sea. But the project has stalled, and concerns remain about its environmental impact.
If and when this happens, we are going to impose changes on the composition of the lake. Changes that the lake has not seen for millions of years, 4 to 5 millions of years. Then is it feasible at all to bring in hundreds and hundreds of million cubic meters to the Dead Sea for them to evaporate when there is shortage of water in the region?
Israel is now pumping some water back into this system, but it's not enough. Neither the farmers nor the factories are proposing to take less water to help save the Dead Sea. For the foreseeable future, it's going to keep shrinking.
But if you look at the vast shores and mudflats and sinkholes, it's a beautiful landscape.
These scientists accept the fate of the Dead Sea, but they hope that people will be able to enjoy this unique place.
If it's organized and people are aware and well-maintained, then it can be a perfect tourist site. I mean, just imagine, I always compare it to Yellowstone Park. It's extremely dangerous if you walk there on your own and not follow the path and the marks. Same thing should be done here, can be done here. It could be an amazing attraction. Huh?
But that means accepting a future where the Dead Sea will keep disappearing, its shattering shoreline extending further every year, until it's a much smaller, even saltier shadow of its former self.
It's a monument for what people are doing without knowing what it's gonna make to the area. I think that when people stopped the Jordan River from entering the Dead Sea, they didn't think that that will be the price for it. If our children will say that they want to save it, they can't even do it because it's too late. Everything that's happening here, it's because of us.